What's going on, everyone? So, Mark Jones of ESPN said this about Ben Simmons. I saw and spoke with Brooklyn Nets Ben Simmons today. He's in fantastic shape. He's shredded. He's in a good place. Ben has spent quality time this summer with head coach Jacques Vaughn, teammates Royce O'Neal, and Dennis Smith Jr. It's lining up for Simmons 100. Now, he does look shredded. He does look good. He's ready to go. And look, the Brooklyn Nets need him. If he can get back to Philly all-star level form, then the Brooklyn Nets could be a real problem team. They have a ton of talent, a ton of depth. I already made a video before saying that I really think that they could be a sleeper team, that they could be a dark horse, right? Now, are they going to win the NBA championship? Probably not. But could they make the Eastern Conference Finals or something like that? I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Atlanta made it a couple years ago and have been a play-in team since. Dallas has made it before. Sometimes things just fall your way. Miami last year, they were able to claw and scratch and had a couple things fall their way that led them to the NBA Finals, right? And it's not like the Eastern Conference is this just juggernaut where it's like the top 5 teams are unbeatable. No, you got like Milwaukee, Boston, and then that's kind of it. Everyone else is kind of clustered in. Philly, they're about to implode. So if you're the Nets, you probably don't have to worry about Philly. The Knicks are a good team, don't get me wrong. The Knicks could cause some problems, could be some trouble, right? The Cavs. But are they that much better than the Nets? I don't know. Mikal Bridges has really blossomed and became this guy. He's playing for Team USA right now. They have a ton of size, a ton of depth, great versatility, great switchability. Brooklyn's probably going to be one of the top 3 to 5 defensive teams in the league, especially if Ben Simmons can return to form, right? You could switch all 5. Like, this is going to be a tough team, right? They could be the Sacramento Kings of last year, right? Where Sacramento just kind of came out of left field, although I called it. I said that they were my sleeper pick. They were my sleeper team last year, that I thought they were going to be really good. Made a couple videos about that. But it's kind of how I feel about the Nets this year. I think that they still need a star, right? Like if they could go get like another star, and I don't even think necessarily they need like a Joel Embiid or something like that. I mean, obviously that'd be nice if they could get somebody like that. But I think like if they could get even like a go-to guy like Zach LaVine who could close down the stretch, and him and Bridges along with Ben Simmons and the rest of the core, depending on what they give up, I think that they could really make some noise, right? I think that they could surprise a couple people. But I do think that they are at least a legit go-to star away. But maybe Mikal Bridges continues to make those leaps. We've seen guys return from Team USA, and Bridges has been a huge part of Team USA. We've seen those guys kind of blossom, really kind of take a next step, a next leap. And you look at this roster, and you got Ben Simmons. The key to me, or the key for me, is Ben Simmons returning to all-star level form. Because if he does, you have an all-star in Ben Simmons, you got a guy that was just putting up all-star level numbers in Mikal Bridges. Cam Thomas, he's a guy that can just go off and just be an absolute just bucket. Cameron Johnson, he's on Team USA also, and he's getting some quality minutes and is a legit 3-and-D guy. He could cause a problem. Spencer Dinwiddie is a guy that can go get you 20 a game. Nick Claxton is a nice young center. You got Finney Smith, Royce O'Neal as great two-way defensive wings on top of Mikal Bridges and Ben Simmons, although Ben Simmons I wouldn't really call two-way, but still he's a guy that can defend, and they got a guy in Lonnie Walker that is an absolute vacuum scorer and can just be a guy that put the ball in the hoop for you as well, right? Like they have a nice squad. They're relatively deep. I think that they have some nice pieces. If they could go and flip a couple guys into maybe that star or a borderline star, this team could make some noise, right? I think this team has the potential to be very good. A couple questions though. One, how does Jacques Vaughn coach this team, right? There's still question marks about him as a coach. I thought he did do decent, right? He kind of had that rough stretch with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and they kind of turned it around, and then they were like actually really good defensively. That's why I think Brooklyn is going to be a really good defensive team this year. And then he ended up essentially getting a whole new roster, and they were kind of just trying to figure things out on the fly. But how does it look with his defensive instillment? How does he handle the training camp and all that in offseason and whatnot? I really do think that this team, again, could be, at worst, I think will be a very tough out. I think that this is a legit team that could be a top 5. I think that they're at least a playoff team. I don't think they're going to be a play-in team. I think they're at least, a top 5 to 6 team at the worst. Again, seeing how Philly does, who knows, right? But more likely than not, my guess is that they probably finish in like the 5th seed, somewhere in that ballpark. That's what I think. I think because you got Milwaukee, you got the Celtics, those two, and then the Nets finished the 6th seed last year, and yeah, they had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, but they had their struggles even with them. And then they kind of like were able to turn it around, go on that great run, and then everything fell apart. And so it was just all over the place. But I really think the Sixers kind of fall off, right? Because how much does James Harden really buy in to the Sixers team? There's already talks about him not showing up to training camp and all that stuff, right? Now, obviously, if the Heat end up getting Damian Lillard, that could change things because now you basically swap them with the Sixers, right? So, but I do think the Nets are in that Knicks, Cavs, Nets area, right? I really do. I genuinely do. Atlanta, maybe they play a little better this year. They got rid of John Collins, and but I don't think that they made any like real strides or anything like that. Toronto, I think, is still going to be terrible. The Bulls, I think the Pacers could make some noise, right? And the Magic, Pacers and the Magic are two teams that I think could make some noise and kind of overtake like the Raptors and the Hawks and the Bulls. But we'll see. Time will tell. But I do think the Nets are in that middle of the pack, right? I think they're kind of clumped in for that like 6th seed. But it's going to come down to how well does Mikal Bridges continue to shine? How well does he continue to play and thrive? How well does Ben Simmons kind of round out into form? Because now you can play Dinwiddie off the ball and just kind of have him be a primary scorer. Allow Ben Simmons to kind of be your point forward. You can play him in that dunker spot. And then you have Mikal Bridges, right? Like you could go easily like a Claxton, Simmons, Bridges. You have a little concern with the shooting, the lack of shooting, right? With Claxton and Simmons. But if Mikal Bridges continues to shine, you have Spencer Dinwiddie who can just go be a bucket getter. And then you could go whoever you want. I mean, you could go big and go Cam Johnson. You could go Cam Thomas if you want. You could stick big and go like Finney Smith or whatever and kind of play Bridges at like the 2. There's a lot of options and versatility here, right? I might go with like Cam Thomas, right? Because if Ben Simmons returns to form, it'd be nice to have that shooting and scoring. So you could go like Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons, and Nick Claxton. And I think you got some good defense. I think you got enough defense to kind of hold up for Spencer Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas. Spencer Dinwiddie's got good size for the point, but you can kind of run your offense through Ben Simmons. Mikal Bridges can be your kind of primary guy. He could be your number 1 option. And then, Dinwiddie and Cam Johnson kind of be the number 2 and 3 option on the offensive end. I think that that's probably the approach that I would take. I think you got good size, good versatility. And then, you have several options. You could always run a small ball lineup with Ben Simmons at the point and just play fast. All right, like that could also be something that really works. Do they start Cam Johnson? Possibly. If they do that, then maybe they go Bridges at the 2, Johnson at the 3, Simmons at the 4, and Claxton at the 5. I don't know. I'm curious. Again, they have options. They have a ton of versatility. They have a lot of things that they could do with this. But I think ultimately it comes down to how does Bridges improve? How does Ben Simmons look? Ben Simmons gets back to all-star level. You have 2 guys on your roster that can be all-stars this year. And that is good. That is really good. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that if Ben Simmons kind of gets back to all-star form, that the Brooklyn Nets could be a tough team? Do you think they have a chance? Do you think no? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.